welcome back to another edition of the White Sox here on OOTP 25. And as you can see, Noah Schultz is the first. He is the first long-term pitching injury to one of our prospects. Unfortunately, the lanky lefty has it happen to him here in late July, or I guess mid-July was when it happened. Torn flexor tendon at 7 months. Not great. He was pitching okay in A-ball with the Kannapolis Cannonballers, not the Intimidators, the Cannonballers. Don't really have too high hopes for Noah Schultz in this universe anyways with the low control and these ratings. If anything, it's probably more of like a bulk reliever type arm that I'm looking at here. But, we're going to have to hope that he can bounce back from this injury because he's the first one. I'm sure there will be many, many more. I should also mention, you may be able to see it here, Seth Martinez, we did claim him off waivers from the Houston Astros. He was on league minimum, and he still had one more option, so I was just like, might as well claim a guy who's got 50s across the board, can maybe be a decent pitcher for us, and he had one option for next year. So he had two options heading into this year. They've used a couple of them this year already. They've optioned him a couple times already this season, so they already burned his option, but he has one more next season, so we have him in AAA right now with Charlotte. We'll see how he pitches, and maybe he comes up and pitches for us in the big leagues at some point. We also have somebody on the IL rehabbing in Matt Foster. He was coming off of Tommy John surgery, and now he is in AAA rehabbing. He has not pitched yet. We just rehabbed him, I guess, 15 days. Isn't that... I don't know. He hasn't pitched yet in AAA. Whatever. He's not really somebody we're really thinking of that highly anyways. Extreme fly ball, 40 overall. Sure, he's got decent control, like 50s across the board, but like extreme fly ball. He's about to be 30 years old. Not really somebody we're planning to keep around past this season, especially since he's going to hit arbitration over the offseason, getting up into the millions. So yeah, Matt Foster, not really somebody we're really thinking about too much. But we are currently here towards the end of July, and that means that we are ramping up towards the trade deadline. Sitting at 46 and 59 on the season, we have this Seattle and Kansas City series left here in July. So it's time to actually start looking at what we actually want to shop here. So if we look at our front office, our salaries here, just based purely on salary and guys we're trying to get rid of, Eric Fetty, probably somebody we're trying to get rid of, although we would probably be trading him at his lowest value at right now. Maybe we keep him around for another season at 7.5 and hope that he can be a bit better next season, or maybe there's something out there that's still interesting for him if we try to trade him. But he's somebody who, we do want to at least try to shop. Yoan Moncada, same deal with him. Don't know if there's going to be anything out there for any of these guys that we're trying to trade. There might just be straight up, like, let's just see, for an example here. If we shop Moncada, just single player, prospects, regulars, nothing. There is not a single offer out there for Yoan Moncada. If we go multiplayer and allow them to add a player, still, even if we allow them to add additional players, it does not matter. It does not matter. They still do not want Yoan Moncada. So I don't know if that's because I have the trade difficulty too high, or if it's just because nobody wants Yoan Moncada at $24 million, who would be a rental if they don't pick up this $25 million. I don't know if this team option is like factoring into that. Like the AI is not able to discern that this is an option, that they don't have to pick this up, but who knows. Benintendi here, second highest paid guy on the team behind Moncada, and he is horrible. Horrible, horrible, horrible. 45 overall, 45 BABIP, 45 gap, 35 power. Can't play any defense. Just a truly, truly terrible player. You can see here, not even doing anything in AAA, a negative WAR player in AAA with Charlotte. Benintendi, he's cooked. He's cooked. There's no way we're going to be able to move off his contract unless we package prospects and eat some of it. It's going to be tough to get off of his contract, but we're gonna try at some point. Maybe that's more of an off-season thing, but Benintendi is 100% somebody we're looking to move away from. Eloy Jimenez, same deal. Big bopper, sure. We've got him for one more year guaranteed, plus the team option. But we don't want this guy, really. I don't think he's ever going to have like a huge season where he like increases his trade value a ton. He's just what he is at this point. If we can find something to get rid of him for, like, let's just see. Is there going to be anything? Okay. So we do have a couple options here. None of them are too intriguing. None of them, they're all like regulars rather than prospects. Like, we could get Nick Fortes to be a catcher for us. But, like, do we really want to trade Eloy Jimenez straight up just for Nick Fortes? We could probably try to maneuver, like, a reliever or something from them. But, you know, it's not going to be a ton of value for Eloy Jimenez or anybody that we're trading, aside from maybe Luis Robert. But we'll come back to this Eloy Jimenez deal at some point. I just wanted to see if there was even possibilities. But Luis Robert's probably the guy, or I would say he's definitely the guy who has the biggest trade value for us. He has a tradable contract, 2 more years guaranteed at $15 and $20 million at age 27 and 28. He is having a 3.5 WAR season, on pace to put up his best numbers in his career. I guess not so much home run numbers, but, you know, very good player. 842 OPS. You know, he's on pace to be a 2020 guy this season. Absolutely, there's going to be teams interested in this guy. Where if the right package is out there, I would be very much open to trading him. We're not going to hang on to him for no reason like the real White Sox did. Especially since he's having a really good season, and we're not going to wait until he sucks and then, and then be like, oh, now we'll trade him. Nicky Lopez is going to be entering arbitration at $5 million. Don't think we're going to be trading him because, 1, there's probably no value, and then 2, who else is going to play shortstop if we trade Nicky Lopez for the rest of the season? John Brebbia is a guy who has a team option for $6 million next season. He could just, I don't know why it's structured like this to where, like, he could opt in. So if he opts in, then we can be like, no, we don't want you. But if he opts out, we don't get the chance to be like, no, we don't. I don't understand. Why is the team option there? And it makes no sense to me. But John Brebbia, definitely not going to be back next year. It also definitely has no trade value. Andrew Vaughn, maybe somebody we look to trade here. Having a good season for us. Do I think he's going to be like a world beater type hitter at any point in his career? No. Should we strike while the iron is hot on him? Absolutely, if we can. Especially since he's somebody who only has 2 more years of team control left, and he's slated to get a big boost in arbitration over the next 2 seasons. Michael Kopech, somebody who is in AAA for us, not performing in the big leagues, and then I guess kind of performing in AAA with a decent FIP but a bad ERA. I just don't think this guy is any good. He's slated to make $3.4 million in arbitration over the offseason. If there's somebody out there that we could just, trade him for, sure. But it's probably more likely that he's a non-tender in the offseason. He's disruptive, extreme fly ball, just all the things you don't want on your team. Michael Soroka, maybe we're able to trade him. Probably not. I was not able to trade him early season. So, probably just going to be an expiring contract for us. Max Stassi, somebody who is 2 weeks away from returning from injury. Maybe he is playing the rest of the season for us, and then, I highly doubt we pick up this team option. So you can see, not a lot of real talent to be traded here. We've pretty much already exhausted everybody who's like an expiring contract who could maybe have value. The rest are like Chris Flexen, who is definitely not going to have value. Like Brett Phillips, who is definitely not going to have value. So, we'll try to shop some guys around, but team's going to be looking mighty, mighty different heading into the offseason, if I had to imagine. Or in the offseason, it'll probably be different. Maybe some of these guys aren't able to be traded, and we're just kind of stuck with them for the rest of the season, or maybe we'll waive and DFA them and open up spots for young guys if we have a spot to be opened up. But, we're basically trying to move away from everybody we can. Robert and Vaughn are probably the only ones that actually have trade value, and we'll see who we're able to pick up. As far as what we're looking to acquire for any of these players, really anything we can get. This White Sox team is in such a bad state. We need everything. I'm not going to be like, hey, if we can just only get pitchers from all these guys, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, I need a batter too. No. Anything you give me, I will take. Oh, and how can I forget to mention, Garrett Crochet. Garrett Crochet is somebody who we should also be looking into trading. He is somebody like Andrew Vaughn, who is slated to make a big raise in arbitration over the next couple seasons, only has 2 more years of team control left. He is not going to be on the next good White Sox roster, so we should be looking to trade him. He's having a phenomenal season. Whether we trade him now or in the offseason, that is to be decided. But if there's a package out there that we like, I will be open to trading Garrett Crochet at this deadline. And just scrolling through like the single player prospects options, it's really a lot of the same names that I'm seeing for Luis Robert Jr. So like the game thinks they have sort of the same trade value. There's a couple names I didn't see with Luis Robert when I shopped him. Like Hector Rodriguez here is a name who's not really interesting to me. Jhonkensy Noel is a name who popped up. Not really interested in that. Hunter Goodman is a name who popped up. Not really interested in that because he can't play defense really anywhere. Apparently Tyler Locklear has already been traded to the Colorado Rockies. Am I stupid? Am I missing the trade here? I guess I have to go to the history. Along with Juan Mercedes for Coco Montes. They just really wanted this 27-year-old AAA guy? Sure, whatever. And then there's a couple 55 guys that are popping up here that are like really young teenagers. This Christian Vaquero, a switch-hitting outfielder in the Nationals organization, 65 range, 65 power. You know, maybe he's something someday. Very raw, obviously, far from the big leagues. I mean, it looks like he could crush the Carolina League, the South Atlantic League. Could probably hold his own-ish. And then there was another 55 potential teenager from the Brewers in Yeferi Rodriguez, a lefty-lefty guy, not as good range, but looks like maybe more of a well-rounded bat with 65 power. He looks like he's even farther away from the big leagues. Like, I guess he could hit in Carolina League. Okay, so I guess they're about the same. If we look at the prospect packages here, funniest offer I'm seeing so far is the Marlins trying to give us Ryan Weathers and Jose Devers, along with $7.5 million in cash. Yeah, but there really isn't any offers that are jumping out off the page to me here. Like George Lombard could maybe be interesting, but I mean, none of these things really seem that intriguing for Garrett Crochet. I'm also probably, in my mind, subconsciously looking at this from the standpoint of knowing what the White Sox got for Crochet in real life and being like, well, none of this lives up to that. Alrighty, folks, we are going to go ahead and do this massive package for Eloy Jimenez here, sending Eloy Jimenez and the rest of his contract for 1 more year guaranteed at 16.5, with a possibility of a second year at 18.5. Big bopper, DH, not really anything more than that. But the Marlins here, the Fish, making our first trade with the Fish. I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, folks. We take a look at what they've been doing this season. They're scrappy. They're a game over 500, and they are competing for the wild card. So you have, this is not the wild card. These are the division winners at the top here. The wild card is these 3 teams right here, and then the Marlins half game back behind the Dodgers, who are having a weird year this season. But the Marlins, very much in the playoff hunt here, and they could use a big bopper. So Eloy Jimenez is going to go to their team, and they're going to give us a couple interesting players. By a couple, I mean 5. The real meat of this deal is Jacob Berry, 23-year-old switch-hitting first baseman out of LSU. Could be our Andrew Vaughn replacement when we trade him at the deadline here. We will have to see where it shakes out, but that is probably where he's going to end up playing for us. So Jacob Berry, he's coming over in this deal along with Will Banfield, a 24-year-old catcher who they have just rotting away in Double-A Pensacola. 60 framing, 60 blocking, 75 arm. Obviously a terrible offensive player, but we're here for the defense. So Will Banfield is going to come over to our organization. And then we also pick up a couple veteran relievers. Veteran is in their old. They're in their 30s, but they don't have a lot of major league experience. Kent Emanuel here, lefty out of UNC, extreme ground ball guy, high control, high movement, We know I like these types of players. He's going to come over, join us. He's got options. He only has 1 year Major League service time, so he's at league minimum for multiple seasons. And then we also are going to bring over Huascar Brazoban, who has the same similar situation where older guy, about to be 35, only has little over a year and a half of Major League service, multiple options, league minimum. Don't have to worry about paying him a ton of money. Ground ball pitcher, high adaptability and intelligence, has a bunch of decent ratings. They're not using him. We're picking him up. And then Dane Myers being added as a possible interesting outfielder to add to the mix here. Has some pop, some BABIP, some avoid K. Good, decent range, 60 range, 55 error, 55 arm. Can play really solid corners. And then he can also play you some solid first base as well. Maybe even some third base if you trained him there a bit. But Dane Myers out of Rice. I just watched them win against Charlotte last night in football. Insanely fun offense. They're rocking over there at in Houston. But anyways, this is the package we are getting for Eloy Jimenez. Going with the bulk package, Eloy Jimenez to the Marlins, and we receive all 5 of these players. Lock it in, folks. Not a lot of interesting stuff popping up for Andrew Vaughn here. There's a couple. I already looked at the single-player prospects. There's a couple interesting ones here that are like 45s, where we could be like a younger first baseman who's more team controllable from the Blue Jays here in Damiano Palmagiani. I've definitely seen this guy before. He's Canadian. Bit of interesting thing taking a Canadian away from the Blue Jays, but you can see here tearing the cover off the ball in AAA with Buffalo. Very interesting first base glove. Could maybe even give you not really some outfield, but like maybe if he gets a Dev Lab boost. Big gap power eye, some power potential there, some BABIP potential as well. Maybe he's a guy who develops, maybe he gets a Dev Lab bump if we go for this guy. There's also Hunter Goodman, who I think I'd like better than the Italian-Canadian guy, who, Hunter Goodman, we all know in real life, was an all-star for the Rockies as a catcher, because I don't really know if he's improved his framing in real life, but I mean, this, he's just, he's not a catcher. He's not defensively anywhere. He's a DH. And that's really what's pushing me away from wanting to go after this guy, despite the fact that he has 50 BABIP and some very good-looking gap power and power to be like a middle-of-the-order, real, like, juice in his bat hitter. But you would just be committing to him playing DH every day, which is something I don't really want to do, having just like another Eloy Jimenez on the team. But, if he's the best option out there, maybe he's the way we go. So keeping an eye on Hunter Goodman. And then there's, nothing really else out there. Bunch of 45s and 40s. This Pirates one is kind of interesting, where they want to give us Braxton Ashcraft, who, as I actually back out of it, Braxton Ashcraft, who's not my cup of tea with the 45 home runs allowed. Mike Burrows, like him a bit more, but we both have them only average scatted, so we don't know actually if they're this good. And then this Francisco Acuna guy, who has some serious gap power with nothing really else to his name, as a 24-year-old, almost 25-year-old in AA. And where are the Pirates right now? The Pirates are 46 and 56. I'm sure their issue is the fact that they can't hit. Let's just take a look, see what it is. What do you know? They pitch very well, and they don't hit at all. And then, is Colorado, actually kind of scrappy? Is that something that's happening? They are not. They're terrible. They're dead last in the West. They are not competing for a wild card. So this Andrew Vaughn trade for them would be trading for somebody they think could help their team next year. And also, trading with the Rockies, nothing has to make sense. They're the fucking Rockies. But I am kind of pushed off by the fact that he has no defensive position, and he is just a DH. I don't really want to commit to a guy being our DH because he has no defensive home, rather than have our DH just be somebody we're kind of just cycling in there to get another bat in the lineup who could be somebody who plays other positions. But Hunter Goodman, maybe he's the best we can get. The idea of getting Jack Sawinski in Chicago is very intriguing to me, but also it makes no sense from a Pirates standpoint because they need bats. He's actually a good bat in this universe, So not really something we're going to be, jipping them out of Jack Sawinski. Also, he's rated very well in this game. He's coming off that 2023 season he had, and then he did not have the disappointing 2024 that he had in real life in this universe. And also just taking a look at the team, they've already started the clock on Bubba Chandler, which is kind of annoying. I was kind of looking to see if we could get that, and then if we do try to get Bubba Chandler, we would have to give them something to sweeten the pot, and it's I'm not going to give them... I mean, I wouldn't be totally opposed to giving them Gonzalez if we could get other stuff on top of it, but Gonzalez, he was their 2023 first-round pick out of Ole Miss. On paper, not really anything too intriguing. Maybe could be a good second baseman. Maybe he develops, but he still has some potential to develop here. Maybe we get some lucky stuff in the dev lab in the offseason where he gets a big power or gap power bump, and suddenly he looks a lot more intriguing. So I don't think I want to totally give up on Jacob Gonzalez quite yet. So Bubba Chandler I don't think is on the table here. Well, if it isn't the OOTP legend himself, Seth Beer, how the mighty have fallen, my goodness. Alright folks, it's time for another massive package here as Andrew Vaughn is being shipped to the Pittsburgh Pirates. They get themselves a bat that they so desperately need. We get a plethora of players who could help us achieve being a okay team. Not the worst team in existence. So Andrew Vaughn going to the Pittsburgh Pirates in return for Braxton Ashcraft, 24 years old, almost 25, barely any Major League service time, still has 2 option years left after this one. Could be a decent starter. Don't love the 45 home runs allowed, but we're willing to overlook that because he's got decent enough stuff, movement, BABIP, really good control, 2 really solid, 2+ pitches with 2 average pitches. Maybe he's something, maybe he's not. Maybe he's a stopper for us. I would take that even. Mike Burrows, same sort of thing with him, but he has much better home runs allowed. Not as good control, but still 3 at least average pitches with a plus curveball there. And then he's, 45 overall, 24 years old, almost 25, just like Ashcraft. Both of them are right-handers. And then we're also picking up a Taiwanese second baseman / shortstop in Soon Chae Cheng? Something like that. I'm definitely aware of this guy. I definitely know who this is, but I just don't know how you pronounce his name. Big speed profile, 65 range with 60 everything else in the infield. Looks like he could be a decent, gap power eye, BABIP sort of hitter. Never going to have any pop, but, play some good middle infield defense, have a good speed profile, get on base a ton, hit a bunch of doubles. That could be his profile here. So we're picking him up along with this trade. And Hudson Head, not Dylan Head, Hudson Head. Lefty outfielder out of San Antonio, Texas. 70 range, can play you some really good outfield at all 3 positions. Has 50 gap power right now. Has some 55 potential. We aren't 100% sure about this guy because he has average scouting accuracy, but, maybe he's all glove. Maybe he has some more bat than we... maybe he develops some more bat than we see right now. Who knows? And then Ryder Ryden just as a kind of throw-in reliever to help the depth of the bullpen. 50s across the board at least with a plus slider. Ryder Ryan, obviously, on the Dodgers in real life. I'm an idiot. I'm thinking of River Ryan. This is Ryder Ryan. Still, his ratings, same, still looks like he could be a decent reliever, 29 years old. Are they brothers? They are brothers. River Ryan is Ryder Ryan's younger brother, and we are going to pick him up still as the last portion of this trade. So we pick up 5 players yet again for 1, Andrew Vaughn going to the Pittsburgh Pirates. We open up money flexibility as well as a bunch of team controllable players coming over to our organization. Lock it in. So we've gone and changed up our strategy a bit here, and we have now checked on regulars as well for seeing what we could get for Luis Robert Jr., just seeing, maybe if there's a guy who has, a year or so of service time who could be somebody interesting to pick up. And there are some interesting names out there, I will say. Jordan Westberg is somebody I'm very highly considering coming in, playing some third base for us. But we do have we do have Colson Montgomery as well. So we have to figure out, maybe Westberg's the second baseman. there's some flexibility to be had because we don't really have any solidified positions at the moment on our roster. So Jordan Westberg, definitely an intriguing player to be able to pick up here, 25 years old, only a little over a year of service time, having a good season here in Baltimore. They are the third place team. They're very good. They're, a team that's obviously having a ton of depth. Jordan Westberg's definitely a guy that, you could see them parting with in this universe, and then just plugging and playing some other similar white guy from the South who they have to plug into a position. Definitely don't look up Gunnar Henderson's high school. Another one that really stood out to me was the Cleveland Guardians here, who are offering us both Stephen Kwan, who I don't love in OOTP because he's got not great BABIP and not great gap power, but also Tanner Bybee, who we only have as low scouting accuracy, but I mean, even if he's a 55, it's Tanner frickin' Bybee. Like, that's a really good pitcher. We're going to be moving on from Garrett Crochet. Bybee's got obviously more years of team control than Garrett Crochet does. Could be interesting. Could be interesting to get Tanner Bybee. We will keep an eye on that. I would prefer to get a guy who doesn't have his clock already started in the major leagues, but Bybee definitely might be too good of an option to pass up for us. Or how about this? How about a little Hunter Brown action, huh? 50 overall, 60 potential. We all know Hunter Brown's a goddamn ace in real life. Could be an option. Has similar service time to Hunter Bybee. It would be along the same lines of that. I don't know. I don't know who I would prefer between him and Tanner Bybee, but definitely an interesting thing to consider. Also, the Royals are trying to give us Reagans and Pasquantino. Am I seeing Reagans as fragile? Yeah, Reagans already off the table because he's fragile. Pasquantino here, maybe. But yeah, there isn't really anything else that's like jumping off the page to me as somebody we should be going out of our way to possibly acquire. There are a couple like prospects that the Padres have offered us, like Josh Mears could be an interesting big bat to add to our lineup. Homer Bush Jr., more so of a slap hitter who could play you some like really good corner outfield, which isn't my exactly favorite type of hitter, also a ground ball hitter. Dodgers trying to give us James Outman here. I will say the Dodgers had somebody who was interesting in their organization they were offering us as well. The other guy could possibly play the infield, so like we could do something where we get James Outman, who obviously is a very good outfielder, high leader, good BABIP, gap power, power eye, lefty-righty guy, can mainly hit against righties. Might be more of a platoon risk, though, is the thing about him. The other player who was interesting to possibly consider was Austin Gautier here. Righty-righty and a Hofstra. Big-time eye, decent gap power, possibly some really good BABIP to go along with it. Mainly just a left fielder if you play him in the outfield, but it looks like he could give you some decent like second base as well. So, a little bit of an older type of prospect, isn't tearing the cover off the ball in AAA, but, could be interesting. Are we able to get both of these guys? Yes. We could just straight up go Luis Robert for Outman and Gautier. Maybe we consider that. Andy Pages, maybe. The thing about picking up somebody like James Outman is that in my mind, he's more of a guy I don't know. I guess it would be kind of like the same as picking up either Bybee or Hunter Brown, where like they have a similar amount of service time. I was going to say he's kind of like picking up somebody like who you would pick up if like you think you can compete in the next couple of years. I also don't love that he is a ground ball hitter. I do love that he pulls fly balls, but he is a ground ball hitter in general, which I do not love. And I also don't love that he's probably a platoon player, which is just, obviously limits his value. And then when it comes to Hunter Brown and Tanner Bybee as possible options to pick up, both of them are 25. They both have basically the same amount of service time in the major leagues. Bybee is a neutral pitcher, Hunter Brown's extreme ground ball, which I do like. Sinker, curve, slider, changeup, and then fastball, curve, slider, changeup for Bybee. Bybee, it's you're getting the control. The control is his big thing. He doesn't have as much of a nasty repertoire, whereas Hunter Brown gives you the ground ball capability and gives you some strikeout capability with his swing and miss stuff. You know, and then also we have to take into consideration here that the Guardians are a good team. They are competing for the Central here. They're only 4 games back. They are 3-7 in their last 10. And I guess, you know, they're a game and a half out of the wild card. But, like, Tanner Bybee is their... I should say, both of these guys are their number 2 pitchers. That's not something I love trading for. It would probably make more sense for the Astros because, as you can see, they're below 500. They're only 4 games out of first place, but they're not really a team that is, like, super in it. Like, they have multiple teams in front of them, even though they're only 2.5 games out. They're below 500. You know, the Astros in this universe could be on the downswing, so, like, a 26-year. But then, like, why would they trade for Luis Robert Jr. is the thing. If they're going to give up on a guy like this, why would they trade for Luis Robert Jr.? Also, he's having a horrible season in Houston, whereas Tanner Bybee is he's also the number 2. He's having a little bit better of a season, but still not great, giving up too many home runs. You know, we only have low scouting accuracy on him, though. Like, neither of these guys are scouted very well. I was going to see if we could go trade for Daniel Espino as a prospect rather than trying to just take their number 2 starter. And Daniel Espino is currently out with a torn rotator cuff, so that's just fantastic. There really just isn't much out there when it comes to the trade value. Like, these guys just don't have a ton of trade value for whatever reason. Luis Robert here, multiple years left, or I guess, 2 years left on the contract at sub 30 years old, having a really good season. And, like, when it comes to prospect packages, one of the best ones we could get would be, like, I don't really love this guy. I think it's the Nationals one, that Vaquero guy. Switch hitter, could be a really good power hitter, but also he's only going to have 45 BABIP, so we don't love that. But he does have 65 range, so he could be like a really good defensive outfielder, plus have some like 40 home run power. But he is, you know, a little bit farther away from the big leagues. We don't have him fully scouted. It's not like he's tearing the cover off the ball in the minors right now. And, like, this is the stuff you run into with hard trade difficulty because the AI just will not give up people. And, you know, you think you should be getting a decent amount for a 26-year-old in his prime 4-WAR outfielder, 4, potentially 5-WAR outfielder, and, you know, what you actually end up getting is a bunch of offers for, like, 26-year-old 50 potential guys or, like, 24-year-old 45 potential guys. I mean, if we let the AI include additional players from our team, the offers get worse. Like, there's even more 45 potential guys, and then, like, none of the other guys that we were actually interested in pop up here. So, it's bleak. Now, here's maybe something that will pique our interest here. Noah Miller, potentially our future shortstop here, almost 22 years old, Wisconsin. We know I like the cold weather guys. Not having a great season offensively, but 70 range, 60 turn DP, 65 arm, really good base runner. Could possibly get some, you know, don't love the ground ball hitter, but could possibly get some development boosts in the dev lab. He's a high leader. Intriguing. Very intriguing from a defensive standpoint from the Dodgers. That might be what we go for, is Miller and then trying to package Gautier and maybe Outman too or something. I know the Yankees have been offering like George Lombard this whole time. I think I would maybe, I mean, he's a rookie guy. There's also like Austin Wells we could go for if maybe we want to get a catcher. who doesn't even have a full year of service time yet. Like, maybe that's the way we want to go here. Alrighty, so we have found our package we are going to trade Luis Robert Jr. for. We are going to be picking up Noah Miller, who is going to come in and probably not right away, but maybe next season or sometime next season, maybe halfway through or something. At some point, Noah Miller is being looked at to be our shortstop, our gold glove shortstop type player. We are also going to pick up Austin Gauthier, who is a guy who could play left field for us, maybe right field, and he could also probably give you some decent second base, maybe some third base if he gets a dev lab boost to his arm. But versatile player, right-handed bat, really good eye, gap power, some BABIP potential as well. Figured he could help us out here. Andre Lipschitz, who is an interesting player, right-handed bat at a University of Tennessee. Probably more so a first baseman than a third baseman. You look at his ratings against lefties, my kind of thinking was that maybe he is our platoon first baseman. Maybe we have Jacob Berry play against righties, and Andre Lipschitz plays against lefties. That could be a thing. So Lipschitz is going to join our team. And then also we're picking up a pitcher in Landon Knack, who everybody has seen in real life with the Dodgers in real life. 27 years old in this, right-handed pitcher out of East Tennessee State University, having a pretty good season in AAA with Oklahoma City. He's going to join our team. So we pick up 4 players for Luis Robert Jr. going to the Los Angeles Dodgers. We open up this money off our books, and we get some decent value for Robert, who's having a good season, sending him to a team that is always looking to acquire talent. Folks, we have found the sorry suckers that are going to take Andrew Benintendi's contract. We are sending. I just was trying to trade Eric Fetty, and the Yankees were like, hey, we're interested in giving up Ben Rice. And I'm like, cool, interesting bat. You know, horribly defensively, but maybe we can work his bat in somewhere. Anthony Siegler, good defensive catcher, really good eye, high leader. Figured, you know, they don't care about him. We'll take him off your hands. And then I was like, Caleb Durbin, Lake Forest, Illinois guy. Why not bring him to Chicago? You know, don't think he's going to be anything too crazy in this universe, but, you know, figured why not give a shot. And then I was like, you know, it's the fucking Yankees. I wonder if we could dump off Benintendi's contract. So I throw him in the trade. We say make it work. And they're like, hey, throw in either Jake Eater or Nick Nastrini and we'll do it. So I'm like, Jake Eater, sure. Looks like maybe he could be a decent back-end, like 4 or 5 starter, maybe like a bulk reliever, stopper type of guy, having a good season in AA, but like he's about to be 26. You know, if this means we can get off of this contract, I'm all for it. And I just decided to go with Eater rather than Nastrini because Nastrini is already in the big leagues. And he's a little bit younger than Eater. They've got similar outlooks. You know, figured why not just give them Jake Eater along with Eric Fetty. And then we get off of Eric Fetty's contract. We get off of Benintendi's contract. And the Yankees give us a couple of guys who may be interesting pieces for us. Hell yes. Let's do it. Lock it in. Alrighty, folks, we are done making trades here for this year's trade deadline. That's going to be all we do here. We are going to hold on to Crochet for the rest of the season. There just isn't really anything out there that's jumping off the page to me as somebody we should be really trying to get for Garrett Crochet. So we're going to wait till the offseason and then trade him then. We are 100% going to trade him. It's just going to be in the offseason where we can really sit down and get into the nitty-gritty of really, you know, doing our due diligence and seeing what we can possibly get for him rather than trying to, like, rush something here at the deadline. So Crochet is going to pitch for us the rest of the season. As far as what the rest of this staff is going to look like here post-deadline, it's quite different. We've got Drew Thorpe and Nastrini are still in here, and then the other 2 guys are Braxton Ashcraft and Landon Knack in the rotation. And then on the bullpen side of things, Banks and Mike Burrows are our stoppers, double barrel, lefty and righty. And then the rest of the bullpen is Huascar Brazaban, Thomas Zapuki, whatever you say this guy's name is, Jonathan Cannon from Georgia, Sammy Peralta, a lefty, Archie Bradley remains in this staff, and then Mike Soroka as the longman / opener. While on the offensive side of things, it's a bit janky, but we're just trying to, once again, throw stuff at the wall, see what sticks, see if any of these guys are worth their weight when it comes to keeping them around. So just going over the lineup against righties, Gautier playing second base, Caro catching, Colson Montgomery third, Ben Rice DHing, Jacob Berry playing first base, Dane Myers in left field, Nicky Lopez at short. We're going with the thing where your 7-hitter is your worst one, and then it works as like 8, 9 are your next sort of leadoff guys. So you want these guys to be hitting leading into the top of the order rather than the worst player on your team. I've experimented that with a little bit in the Marlins earlier seasons when the team wasn't so good, so I figured, why not try it here? Nicky Lopez 7, then Fletcher, then Ortega in right field, and then against lefties, the only thing that changes is that Tim Elko is playing first base for us. The Ole Miss legend is up in the big leagues here for us. 60 power. He's got 33 home runs in AAA with the Charlotte Knights this season with a 908 OPS, so I figured, why not get him on the big league team, see what he can do here, get his bat in the lineup, and see if he can hit some dongs here down the stretch. And then as far as the backups go, Christian Pache will remain our fourth outfielder for his defense profile, obviously, and then also a pinch runner. And then we have Yon Moncada mixing in basically, when Moncada plays, Gautier will, all these guys are just kind of moving around the infield rather than having one true infield backup guy, essentially. Mainly because we couldn't find a trade partner for Moncada. Ideally, we traded Moncada and we were able to just full-time DH Rice like we're doing, and then have a true backup infielder. But unfortunately, we were not able to find a Moncada deal, and I didn't want to just DFA him. I guess we can. Maybe I'll do that at some point still, but, we weren't able to find a trade partner for him, so he's just going to stick around the team for the rest of the season, and then we will decline his option heading into free agency. But that is what our team is going to be looking like here. Should probably put Barry on here rather than Elko against lefties. And we'll see how the team does the rest of the season. We are currently sitting at 46-61, 12.5 games out of first place, with a minus 64 run differential. We're 4-6 in our last 10. Let's just take a look at the info screen here to see where we are rankings-wise. Not a lot of stuff really jumping out to you. We're still, doing a good job limiting hits, having good BABIP, playing good enough defense, but nothing else is really jumping off the page here. We're not striking out. That's good. Not striking out. Base running decently well, but not exactly a lot of value coming from that. And it's coming to bite me instantly, folks. This is why you don't wait to trade people. Oh my god. Partially torn labrum after the rest of the season, Garrett Crochet. And now when we trade him in the offseason, we're going to be trading damaged goods. Alrighty, folks, we are here at the end of the 2024 campaign, and the Chicago White Sox have successfully lost many, many less games than they did in real life. 72-90 is the final record here for the 2024 White Sox. You can see we even ended the year on a bit of a... we were on a 4-win streak, and then we had a chance to avoid 90 losses, but unfortunately losing 2-1 to the Detroit Tigers. Jackson Jobe outdeals us, while our 5-headed monster of openers and followers were not able to get it done in the game. Or I guess the pitching did their job, it's just the offense was not able to do their job against Detroit here in the final game of the season. But still, 72-90 on the campaign. We will absolutely take that. We have a minus 180, or minus 105 run differential, which is not the worst in Major League Baseball. There are multiple teams that are worse than us. Like the Yankees, last place, they're their own thing. But we're minus 105. A's minus 104. They're minus 194. They're worst. Minus 219 for the Nationals. They're way worse. Minus 130 for the Rockies. They're way worse. So, could have been much, much worse on the season, as the White Sox 72-90 on the year. Take a look at the team's stats page. You can see in August and September, post-trade deadline, the new pieces were actually pretty scrappy in the last 2 months of the season. Obviously, we know about how May went. The May 2024 Sox, unbeatable. You can't beat those guys. But then June, July, terrible. And then August, above 500. We'll take it. 11-14 in September. And then we did end up not being quite top 2 in these categories, but we were second in lowest BABIP, and then top 6 in both hits allowed and opponent's average. Third in defensive efficiency, 8th in zone rating. Bullpen ERA ended up being top 7. 9th in runs allowed. We've got some idea of where we're heading. We weren't as bad as we could have been. We had some really good base running. We don't strike out. We stole a bunch of bags. Unfortunately, the offense, I think, is the big thing we really, really need to improve. I feel like the pitching could be on its way to being respectable, but the defense or the pitching or the pitching could be on its way to being respectable. It's the offense that really, really needs work. As we will jump in and take a look at what our offense looked like here. Colson Montgomery finishes with 3.1 wins above replacement with a 135 WRC plus, 22 home runs and 9 home runs, 45 ribbies on the season for him. Colson Montgomery hasn't quite developed that power number yet. We would like to see him tap into this 60 power because we need him to be a slugger in the middle of our order, but we will absolutely take a 3-win season for him in only 100 games, 430 plate appearances. Not a great defender, obviously, but the bat definitely quite solid for him. And then Dominic Fletcher puts together a 2.3 win season, 96 WRC plus, very Dylan Head-like player, I feel like. 70 range, 70 error. Gave us some good center field, or I guess not a good center field down the stretch. He was a negative ZR player in center field for some reason. Maybe it's because he was switching around a ton, but I find it hard to imagine that this guy will not be able to put up a good season in center field if you give him the opportunity. But nonetheless, still a 2-war season for him. Edgar Quero with a 2-win season as well in 94 games, 359 plate appearances, a 126 WRC plus, 21 doubles. Improved his defense a little bit. It's now into the green for everything, 50 framing. If we look at his scouting, you can see here his eye went up, his defense went up a bit, and Edgar Quero suddenly maybe not totally cooked when it comes to being a catcher for us. We are definitely still going to try to improve his defense in the dev lab this offseason, but even if we don't get that, we'll probably still at least trot him out there for another season at the catcher position. And then the rest of these guys, really nothing was given to us. Rafael Ortega was on the team for the entire season. 1-win player, 90 WRC plus, 25 doubles, 10 home runs. 3.2 ZR in right field. Sure, whatever. I doubt he's on the team next season. Jacob Berry, we gave him a decent chunk at first base. 189 plate appearances, 93 WRC plus, 11 doubles, 4 home runs. He's, probably given a little bit more run, but doesn't look like anything too special at the moment. Nicky Lopez was exactly a 0-win player. He affected the team not at all. His bat is so incredibly bad. A 39 WRC plus, that is a 495 OPS, that it doesn't even matter that he puts up a 10 ZR at shortstop. He's still a 0-win player. That's how bad his bat is. Caleb Durbin we called up towards the end of the season, barely played. Dane Myers got a good chunk of time in left field. He was terrible offensively. Defensively, pretty solid. So, maybe we give him some more time. Doubt we're going to be making any big swings this offseason. A lot of these guys will probably get another full season chance to do something for us. Christian Pache was terrible as a bench player. Austin Gauthier didn't really do anything. 311 OBP, 3.81 pitches per plate appearance. Not great. and also was just a terrible, terrible defender at second base. Don't love to see that. We also claimed Montero off waivers, and he was okay in very limited sample size from the Rockies we claimed him from. Siegler did nothing. Tim Elko was truly, truly terrible in his DH spot. You could see Ben Rice was up for a bit, got about like 100 plate appearances. Or no, he got 61 plate appearances and was truly terrible. We sent him down because Elko started off decently. Rice did not, so we sent down Rice, called up let Elko play a bit more, and then Elko was just terrible. So, like I said, some of these guys will get some more chances. Maybe they're better with a full season under their belts. But for now, not a lot of juice being shown on the offensive side of the ball. You may also notice that we got rid of Moncada. We did end up releasing him, just paying the rest of his contract. Did he sign with anybody? Let's check. Yoan Moncada is a Kansas City Royal. He goes them, plays 27 games. Sure, whatever. Is it dumb to cut a guy who had a triple-digit WRC plus? Maybe. I don't really care. We weren't going to bring it back anyways. I wanted to get some more playing time to other players. And then taking a look at the pitching side of things here. As you can see, we ended the season with 5 followers. 5 followers. Nobody was a true starter on this team. Just truly piecing it together down the stretch. And, I thought maybe we'd have a little bit more success. That was kind of like my main idea for this year was like maybe we could like be scrappy with like some good defense. And if we just kind of like open and follower our way to a decent team. But, I guess 72 wins is as scrappy as the White Sox can be. But overall, not exactly an experiment that went well. But, we had some decent performances. Nobody was really that great. Obviously, Crochet was really good before he went down with the partially torn labrum, unfortunately. Puts up a 3-win season. He was really good. We will be trying to trade him during this offseason at some point. Jordan Liager also was pretty good for us before he went down with a torn elbow ligament, unfortunately. Matt Dermody was pretty decent, I guess, for 27 innings. He got hurt. But the guys on the Major League staff right now, Drew Thorpe led the team in innings pitched, was around league average, both ERA and FIP, gave up a bit too many home runs. You look at his numbers, or his ratings on paper, he looks like he could be a guy who could be a decent pitcher for us, or a good pitcher for us, so we're kind of holding out hope for that. Tanner Banks ended up putting together a decent season, was a follower to start the season, ended up then moving to the stopper position in the back end of the bullpen, one of our more high leverage guys. You're not going to be able to see what the difference is between the two because obviously the follower and the stopper situation both classify as a reliever. But I will say, once we took him out of the rotation as a follower and put him into the stopper role, these numbers started trending in the right direction. So Tanner Banks could be actually a decent reliever for us. Jonathan Cannon, he was okay. Nothing special. Whatever. Braxton Ashcraft, he pitched 82 2/3. He was okay, around league average. Mike Soroka, around league average, as getting 33 starts as an opener. Nick Nastrini ended up not being great. His MLB career started off pretty decent. You can see here in June, got 2 appearances, went well. July did not go well. August did not go well. And then September had a good FIP, but not a great ERA in 5 appearances. Then Sammy Peralta ended up not being great. 35 starts as an opener. Whatever. Lefty. Gave him a chance. Wasn't really anything for us. Landon Knack ended up being a pretty decent player in 50 innings. Had a above league average ERA plus and above league average FIP minus. So we will take that for Landon Knack. Zapuki, whatever this guy's name is, the Polish last name guy, extreme fly ball. He was claimed off waivers from San Francisco. Was around league average for us. Struck out a bunch of guys. Also walks a decent amount, but gives up too many home runs, as extreme fly ball pitchers do. And then Brazoban, unfortunately, was not good. A 34-year-old veteran reliever. On paper, should be able to put together decent numbers. Maybe we run him back a bit next season in the bullpen, give him another chance. But in 23 innings, did not impress. Gave up way, way, way too many home runs. Mike Burrows was actually pretty good in the follower or in the stopper role. He, like I said, was a stopper for us. Got 40 innings. Was a well above average ERA, around league average FIP. We'll take it. Maybe he can improve next season. Matthew Boyd, I totally forgot about because he came back from his injury at such a unopportune time to be able to try to trade him. So we just ended up playing him in the rotation down the stretch and was around league average. Maybe we bring him back on a cheap deal. Maybe we don't. Seth Martinez came up at the end of the season, got his 32 and a third innings. He wasn't, or I guess 32 and a third between us and Houston. He wasn't really anything great. He gave up way too many home runs just overall in general. Cody Funderburk, we claimed off waivers from the White Sox. He was with our Fish series in OOTP 26. Now he's here in Chicago. We claimed him off waivers from... Did I say we claimed him off waivers from the White Sox? We claimed him off waivers from the Twins, rather, and was not good. 16 innings, did not perform well. ERA was not great, but the FIP was around league average, so, maybe it gets better next season. And then Kent Emanuel, the guy we picked up in the Miami trade, one of the guys, lefty, he also was not good. He got 5 and a third in the big leagues and was truly dreadful. Had a 6.8 home runs per 9. I mean, he's literally throwing batting practice. Also, I'm seeing Funderburk here ended the season on a hot streak, so I guess maybe September for him was, I guess, ERA-wise? I don't really know. It looks like it was okay. Sure, whatever. And then just quickly, not going to spend too much time going through this because I honestly don't really care what the 2024 league leaders were, but just quickly going through this, the batting average leader in Major League Baseball, Vladdy with the Blue Jays. Aaron Judge hits 49 home runs. Ohtani hits 48. Casas and Devers both with 40-plus for the Red Sox. You also have the OBP leader by a good margin being Juan Soto with a 448 in his last season with the Yankees here as he enters free agency. Or his only season with the Yankees, I should say. The WAR leader was Julio Rodriguez. The National League WAR leader was Ronald Acuna Jr. Masataka Yoshida was the doubles leader. Hit 50 of them suckers up against that green monster in Boston. Tristan Casas scored the most runs in Major League Baseball. The triples leader was Corbin Carroll and Riley Green, both tied at 12. Stolen base leader was Victor Scott II, the West Virginia man, center fielder for the Cardinals. 79 bags. I mean, just crazy numbers there. Joey Gallo struck out the most in Major League Baseball, as he does. Nicky Lopez had the most sack hits in baseball this year, only behind Tyler Anderson, the former White Sox. Also had the most sack flies in Major League Baseball this season. That's what happens when you have a guy who doesn't strike out but also doesn't make good enough contact to do anything. Then on the pitching side of things, your ERA leader was Luis Castillo. Somehow Jordan Hicks, second best ERA in Major League Baseball. The saves leader was Emmanuel Clase of the Cleveland Guardians. The WAR leader, Kevin Gausman, Skubal, Skeens, Snell, Logan Webb, a lot of names you would expect to see in here. Strikeouts leader was Spencer Strider, once again, name you would expect to see topping that list. The FIP leader, Kevin Gausman, WHIP, Spencer Strider with the only sub-1 WHIP in Major League Baseball. And then when it comes to the reliever numbers, the shutdowns, Edwin Diaz, Pete Fairbanks, holds, Andrew Chafin, Gabe Spire of the Mariners. And then on the fielding side of things, the highest ZR in Major League Baseball belonged to Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins with a 21.3 ZR patrolling center field for Minnesota. Behind him you have Swanson, Lindor, Jose Siri, Trent Grisham in New York. And then on the catching side of things, you've got the caught stealing percentage. Dylan Dingler throwing at 31% of runners. The ERA, Patrick Bailey. Framing runs, Jose Trevino with a 15.7 framing runs. Way higher than Jonah Heim, who is second with a 9.6. So Trevino just basically like dominating that number. That statistic, I should say. Oh no, we've got a 259 score. We got to do better next year. I mean, we'll try. We'll try, but we have reached the end of the season here, which means that we have ourselves a World Series champion, folks, and it is the Seattle Mariners. Just like they did in Season 1 of The Fish, the Seattle Mariners do it here in 2024 in an alternate universe, sweeping the New York Mets. Talk about great rooting interest for me personally when it comes to the ALCS specifically and the World Series. I mean, Mariners, Mets, love watching both those teams. Mariners, Rays, we all know I'm a Rays guy. I'm a Tampa sports guy in general for some weird reason. I did a super long online Madden franchise, or Madden league I was in, and I was the Bucks, so I've just always had a connection to the Bucks. Love watching the Bucks in real life too. Big Baker Mayfield guy. I got an online dynasty I've been playing in where I'm USF, so we get the Tampa connections there. And then I've just always been a Tampa Bay Rays guy, so I'm just weirdly have all these connections to Tampa. But the Mariners, my goodness, winning the World Series, sweeping the Mets. Folks, and this is such a big thing. We're not even going to wait until the offseason episode to show you this. Jerry Reinsdorf has sold the Chicago White Sox. He is no longer our owner. Vinny Durantes is our owner. Tolerant patience, normal fiscal personality. So luckily we did not get some guy who's going to be a penny pincher, but he does meddle in the involvement, which is definitely annoying, and he cares about profit. I don't know exactly what meddling is going to lead to. Like, is he... You have to be kidding me. He has decided he's going to take control of our player development budget. I might just go in and edit that immediately, to be honest with you. I just don't want to deal with that. I might just put that in normal. Because if Jerry Reinsdorf isn't going to mess with that shit, I'm not going to deal with some fucking AI bullshit, totally RNG, here you get a new owner, season 2, and now he's going to just meddle in everything. No, I'm not going to deal with that. So we're probably going to, bump this up a little bit. Obviously, we're not going to make it to where it's, insane, but maybe we knock down the fiscal personality or something. I don't know. Balance it out to where we get the involvement to be, he lets us do what we want, but maybe he's not as generous with the money. Something to balance out us changing this, because that's bullshit. This is the 100% thing. I mean, I'm fine with guys who want a penny pinch. I'm usually, operating with a pretty tight budget anyways in these games, but I'm not dealing with some owner getting in here being like, actually I'm gonna control the player development budget. I'm gonna be signing guys and shit. No, not happening.